were dull. Nothing new, nowhere to go. I had more than a girl could wish for, but still something was missing. What? I didn't know. That's when I saw him. So smooth, so carefree. He was real, I thought. He could make me real. When I saw you, when you were cruising in your car, well, I was down, I was lost and insecure. It's magical he found me, summer breeze bringing a change of fate. He came by to ask me for a ride with him. Reality reminds me it could just be another drag. Miracles don't happen every day, you see. My days were changing. Excitements I didn't expect. I never knew riding with you could bring so much wonder. Everything a surprise. Your beautiful machine never slows, never stops. This was real, I knew. My life was turning real. You have no clue how long I've waited for this time. Life was a bore till you pulled me out of bed. Mysterious as we ride, I foresee we will never stop till we get to somewhere unexplored someday. It's destiny that we met. It's a thrill I was looking for. No one else could lighten up my heart this way. Delirious, hypnotic, drips and curves are the tricks for me. Driving shows me wonders never seen before. So endlessly scenes move on. City lights shift to starry skies. Sandy beach and forest. I can't wait for more. When I saw you, when you were cruising in your car, well, I was down, I was all lost and insecure. It's magical you found me, summer breeze bringing a change of fate. You came by to ask me for a ride with you. It's destiny that we met. It's a thrill I was looking for. No one else could lighten up my heart this way.
Hello, I am back. Back from a not super extended holiday. It got extended by The worst jet lag I have ever experienced in my life. It basically took me out of commission for the better part of a week. Followed by extreme heat. It was 36 degrees in here yesterday. It wasn't great. It was not a good time, but I survived. I'm here. I have prepared a little slideshow, as I traditionally do. I find it to be therapeutic. I find it to be, you know, I tend to get... I'm not very used to going on vacation. This is only my 4th time in like 15 years. It's all been the last 3 years, since kind of basically after me and Mrs. Bob both had therapy, that we actually kind of got the... Nope. My chair break. Actually got the mental capacity, I suppose, to take vacations and go on trips, try new things. Now, new things. 3 of those 4 trips have been to Aruba. But there's a reason for that, and that reason is, though, that place is historically and emotionally significant to the both of us. And we are still in what will probably be a decades-long process of reconfiguring our relationship to that place. And these slideshows are also a part of that. They're also a way for me to show off the things I like about Aruba. Maybe even things I don't like. I don't know. Just, it's an interesting place. It's a small place. There aren't that many people from it. You know, 100,000 something on it. A couple more thousand spread all over the world. I am one of those that spread all over the world. So yeah, I had an overall good time, in spite of the fact that the weather was absurdly rainy for June. Now what kind of process could possibly lead to the climate changing like that? Don't know, but it was a little inconvenient because it limited what we could do, because there's, you know, all the activities you want to do are outdoor activities. But at the very least, we didn't get burnt. I got a little bit of a color, but I didn't get burnt. So that's good. And the other thing is that Artorias is still kind of going through something. And we had a new sitter for him, and it was a little challenging for her to deal with him and for us to see all the things he was going through and the trouble he was having from so far away. And that's always been something that made me hesitant to take trips, because he, especially now in his current condition, he needs a lot of extra care. And he was on my mind a lot during the trip. He was on my mind maybe a little too much for a vacation, but what can you do? That's children for you, you know? Can't really do much about that. Yeah, so I have a bit of a slideshow prepared. It's like, how many images is it? Hold on. Why doesn't it say? 306 images and some videos. We managed to visit some new places this time around. I wanted to try something different. I had a particular goal, a very specific goal. I tend to do these trips, at least the Aruba trips, with specific goals in mind, because they're expensive. It takes a long time to fly there, 10 hours, and that doesn't include all the other extra, you know, airport shenanigans around that. And it's such a meaningful place to me that I kind of want to, at least I want to actively use that time, you know, like, yeah, it's a vacation, it's a sunny trip away from everything, but it's also a project in a way. That's how I have decided to use these trips, as a project. And the project this time was to hang out more explicitly with family. I have a brother and a younger sibling. I have my mom. Last time Last time we went for 3 weeks, and I felt like I kind of was on autopilot for the most part. And that has its function too, because my task, my project then was to just get blasted by the sun and relax, and that worked spectacularly. But I noticed that in trying to reconnect with my family like this, I needed to be more proactive. So this time I alerted everyone when I was coming, when I would be free, made plans, and yeah, I would say succeeded pretty spectacularly, which I'm very happy about. I hung out a lot with my younger sibling, who had the mornings free. I spent enough time with my mom, and I got to see my brother a couple of times. I beat him at bowling, even though he was basically semi-pro when he was younger. 2 out of 3 rounds, I won. Scored a blistering 138 both times. The other third round, my mom won. Is that true? No. She won. I beat him twice, but we all won 1 round. But what matters is that I beat him twice. And I got to hang out with my little nieces, his kids, who are 5 and 9. They're adorable. I only really met them and got to hang out with them last time. Yeah, because they hang out with my mom once a week. And of course, they were there for the bowling too. Fluff Weasel resubscribed, and the message isn't coming through. Hi, Fluff. Even though I checked. Robot Bob. Hold on 1 second. Hi, Fluff. It's a shame I can't, like, replay. I don't know how to do that. The stream is due for a big, giant, like, technical upgrade, I think. Because, I don't know, it feels like it's being held together by patchwork, you know? How are you doing today, Fluff? How has life been? I have missed you. I have missed everyone. It's good to be away, but it's also strange. I like my regularity. I like my standard flow of things. Anxious. Yeah, that's still relatable. Well, I hope I could give you a little bit of tropical relief today. This is where we're going. This is one of my souvenirs. It's a little map. Like, at the supermarket, I got, like, one of those little books that has, like, all the best places to visit on Aruba. And it's, like, 90% advertising. 90% of which is for jewelry stores. High concentration of jewelry stores. This almost feels like jewelry stores in the Caribbean is a good place to launder money. Just suspecting. Just wondering. There it is. This green stuff is the national park. Didn't really go there this time. We're gonna take a closer look in detail, but what kind of ads do we have here? Receive a free after-dinner drink at the Bingo Bar and Restaurant. There's jewelry here. Oh, this is all restaurant. Of course this is all restaurants, because they had numbered. Yeah. That makes sense. They're numbered and they're on the map, because this is a map of where to go places that are advertised. No, but there has to be one jewelry store here. Queen's Jewelers. Free gift with the purchase of $100 or above. And let's not forget about Booba's pontoon tours. That's funny. I'm putting that away. People have... I noticed something, like, I've noticed some things... Hey, Juge. I noticed some things that I'm gonna put in the game. I was struck by a lot of inspiration. So there's gonna be a Aruba game concepting stream again soon, I think. Because I need to get that shit out and worked out and maybe actually start putting some time into it. Another thing I got, which I'm very happy about, is you know how I like my books. I like my my books about Aruba. I've got a little bit of a library going. I don't usually have fiction, but I couldn't resist. This is Outpost Alto Vista and Other Cosmic Horrors from Aruba by one V. Frank Jr. This charming fellow. I haven't read a word of it yet. I bet it's kind of shit. He's the publisher. He has his own publishing company. And I know this because I got this other book. This isn't Dutch, but this is basically toponyms of Aruba. It's in Dutch, but it's the explanations behind the names of places. This is fascinating. Fascinating. But then I saw Viviano L. Frank. I'm like, that's a similar name as this charming fellow. He apparently worked in the government for a while and has very intimate knowledge of kind of the maps of Aruba and whatever. This is the dad. And now I thought, okay, the dad has a publishing house or a publishing company or something like that, and the fail son, the card shark magician fail son, gets a free book out of it. But turns out, no, it's the son's publishing company, and he kind of motivated his dad. He told his dad, man, you have all this knowledge, you need to put it down in a book. And it's just kind of cool. I found out later that there's also a brother who also has a book, but it was on something boring and academic. But a whole family business there. Did I have a nice trip, Juge? There's only one way to find out, and that's to pay attention to this entire stream. So who wants to see some pictures? What? Juge, you have dyslexia, not ADHD. Hey, Disty. Ah, it's still warm in here. I'm gonna turn the fan on. It's still 26 degrees inside this room. Okay. It's time for geography. Or not. Why did this happen? I swear OBS. Oh, because I have desktop on. There we go. Okay, so this little ball here. My dad writes very boring books about precious metal hallmarking, highly niche stuff. I bet there's some nerd on Twitch who's like, precious metal hallmarking is how I connect to my heritage. Alright. This is planet Earth. Alright. Over here, this is like, don't worry about this place. Nobody likes this. Nobody really likes this either. Or this. Parts of this. There's a whole problem going on over here. Nobody likes this either. But I'm like over here somewhere. Alright, so I take a train from over here somewhere to here. Actually, I took a taxi because the train workers were striking the day we were leaving. And then a little like tube of metal goes into the sky, and it goes like all the way over here at this agonizingly long flight. This takes forever. Forever. Goes over Puerto Rico. And it goes right here. Right here. This is Venezuela. People love... Everybody in the world loves Venezuela. Could I turn the music down? Is the music really loud? Why am I soft then? Could be the fan now. Oh wait, the fan is spinning. You're not supposed to spin. No, I'm good. This is Venezuela. Everybody in the world loves Venezuela. Nobody has any problems with Venezuela, especially not Guyana. Don't worry about this stripy border here. And just north of this place called Punto Fijo is a little island by the name of... Why are there labels? I didn't want labels. How do I turn the labels off? Nah. Layers. Clean. Thank you. Guyana's a massive gold producer, but it's like the fucking Wild West. They also recently discovered massive oil reserves off the coast, which Venezuela wants. So the reason Aruba was, I guess it still is prosperous, is this. This is Lake Maracaibo. There's a fuck ton of oil under here. But it's all garbage oil, needs to be refined. So, what the Americans did, and this is like in the 1920s, and the Dutch, put a massive refinery. It's this, or what's left of it. There used to be one over here too, and then here in Curacao, it's all refinery also. Hey, Red! Oh, this is very brown. That's cool. Yeah, also has some great forests that should be protected. It's like 99% jungle. Guyana's pretty untouched. So this is where the airplane landed, and we're like, all right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to complement the slideshow with kind of locations on the map, so that you can kind of also see where it is in relation to what and why it's meaningful and what have you. Right? So we start with some feet. Right before we left. A little nervous, but excited. We had a taxi booked. The taxi arrived early, which is nice. We came to the airport right on time. We said goodbye to our sweet baby. Please still send him your strength. He is still having difficulty. He's not mobile. We're hoping that we're feeding him more. We're hoping that now the temperature is dropping a bit. Exactly. Now that the temperature is dropping a bit, that he'll get a little bit more rest in. There might be some physiotherapy type stuff we have to do for him. But he's still having a lot of trouble, and he needs as much help and support as we can get. Anyway, this is us saying bye for just under 2 weeks. And here it is. Beautiful Aruba. Just kidding. This is just a terribly upscaled picture that was hanging in the airport. And then when we arrived, it was raining. And the thing about Aruba, the thing that you need to know about Aruba is not a tropical jungle paradise, right? Aruba, along with Bonaire Curacao, is like in this little pocket of the Caribbean that's very dry and arid. Why did it need upscaled images? It was like a wall-sized picture, basically, in the arrivals area. So Aruba is very dry and arid. Very, very little rain, generally. There is a rainy season, which coincides with hurricane season, but it's just outside of like the hurricane zone. The hurricanes are like over... They sometimes graze the islands. You get the edge of a hurricane, but they're never hit directly. Not that a tropical storm can't do a lot of damage. But the point is, very dry place. Rainy season is like between October, December. And even then, when it rains for like 5 to 10 minutes, but extremely hard. And then it gets very humid. So we arrived, and it was raining. And we thought, man, well, you know, this will be maybe the only rain we see, and it's gonna stop in 10 minutes, and then it's gonna dry and whatever. I'm sorry to inform you that it basically rained every day that first week we were there, really limiting our activity potential, which kind of sucked. There was like a small patch of nice days near the end, the middle part. Also, just FYI, if you have any questions about Aruba, its history, geopolitics, its people, this is the time, because my mind will be fresh. But this is the airport. Right here, the airport parking lot. Right here. The departure... No, this is the arrivals hall. And what you can kind of see in the distance here, if you look very closely over there, it's like the top of a hill. I've talked about this hill before. It's this hill. It's called the Hooiberg, which is Dutch for haystack, because it's like this nice little round little peak right in the middle of a lot of flat area. It's the third tallest hill on the island. The other two are over here in the hilly part. The one hill, you can see it from everywhere, and you can climb it, because as you can see, there's a staircase, and we climbed it, and well, we'll talk about that later. Where are we now? Right, dollar. Just like Leiden, a little bit, yeah, except a few more steps. See, there it is again. This is from my mom's house. This is the same evening. We arrived around 6 o'clock. And my mom's house has like a little apartment. A little, like, one-room apartment with a little kitchen and a bedroom. A bathroom, rather. Well, a bed also. She likes to leave us little snacks. And I really appreciated these authentic island snacks. Candy corn. I'll eat about anything with sugar in it, so I snarfed them down. This was sunset that very same day. And it immediately makes you go, yeah. Yeah, these are power lines, don't worry about them. The sunset makes me go, yeah, you know, yeah. This is the shit. This is the unspoiled, untouched incredibleness of the universe. It was very pretty. And that stuff like shit. And then here, in between some bricks, life finds a way. Life finds a way. Tiny little cactus. I don't even remember taking this picture. This is a video. Hold on. This is the morning. Oh yeah, that. Wait, you can't hear because desktop audio is off. Now you can hear. Hold on. I was hoping that bird would sing. But it didn't. It did not. We'll get to some birds more. This is Luna and Pepper. The sisters. Are they twins? I mean, they were born the same day. They're from the same litter. I don't know if you'd call dogs twins. Luna is like shy and timid, and Pepper is very energetic. But they love each other. This is Snowy. You chill little guy. This is Taz. Taz is my my sibling's cat, her personal cat, and is 17, 18, maybe even older. Very scruffy, but still very alert. Missing most of her teeth. And this is Panda. Panda's a little fatty of the group. He's a little chonker. He likes to just plop on the ground and bathe in the sun. And this is Free Feet. Free Feet. Never say that I don't do enough for you. Because you get free feet. Alright?
Everything is so beautiful.
The difference between like the tiny one, so Taz, picking her up, she weighs nothing. And I was actually surprised by how much Panda weighs. I think it's mostly muscle, to be fair. He's not... I don't think he's fat. He's just very sturdy. But yeah, my mom has a pool. And we made as much use of it as we could. So, my mom, as some of you may know, I don't have any examples here this time, no, because they're all hanging. My mom, in her retirement, is an artist, essentially. She's an artist. And does courses for mosaic and ceramic work. And this is a piece that she sold. It's made out of old plates, as you can see. It's like all old plates. This is a piece that she sold to a very popular bakery, and that's hanging there. This is, I think, a picture that Mrs. Bob took when she went inside to get some deliciousness. It's still hanging there proudly. She sold it. It was cool because she sold it last time I was there. So it's cool to actually see it hanging there now. Here's Panda again. I love him. Here's Taz again. Hey, look. This was him most of the time. Just chilling. Also this. You know, sometimes you gotta air out your belly. I understand. I took a lot of pictures of the cats. This... Look. Hold on. Where is... She looks angry. She looks angry. She's not angry. Alright? She's just kind of chomping down on some of this food. She doesn't have many teeth left. I just got a picture of her mid-chomp. That's all. She actually loves me. Okay, so I was looking for more books. This is one I decided not to pick up. Even though the cover art is pretty incredible. I'm just wondering what compels someone to write a book like this. Thanks, Disty. I was the millionth signature. It's true. I'm just wondering what compels someone to make a book like this. What is the story behind? I'm sure it was in the book, actually. If I'm next time I'm just gonna get it. LLM is a master's in law. This means he has two of them. Lincoln D. Gomez. I don't know if you have two masters in law that you does that mean you get to use the title twice? Mrs. Bob is one of those. I mean, generally, at least in Dutch universities, there's just two types of masters. There's just private law and public law. Maybe you got both. Nope. Look, there she is. Say hi to Mrs. Bob, everybody. Nope. So this is just a weirdo who's like, I'm a double LLM. I'm an LLLLMM. This is kind of cool. So, this area, here's the cruise ship terminal. All right, here's a couple of hotels. This area is this area, I guess technically this entire area is the capital. Look, if you look at the way everything's built, it's just one large city, right? Maybe two, maybe another smaller city there too. This area is the capital, Oranjestad. And some of the buildings there are still quite old, are still from the glory days. not all of them have been properly restored. This is an active house. Someone lives here. And it's, on the one hand, it's kind of a shame how it's been dilapidated like this. Because some of the buildings that have been restored and have been restored beautifully, and it's this unique, early 20th century Aruban colonial architecture. But also, seeing it in this state is also kind of cool. The ruins are kind of cool. We're gonna get to some more ruins later. But before that, we discovered T-shirt Paradise. Unfortunately, it was closed. But this is apparently where T-shirts go when they die. At least the ones that have been behaving. Here's another shot of that building. Well, ironically, across from this building, and I didn't take a picture of it because it's kind of plain, is one of those buildings, those old houses that has been beautifully restored. There's a restaurant now, I believe. And you have this is the thing about Aruba, where you have this contrast between stuff that has been completely lost to time, let go, is falling to ruin, and you have other stuff that looks so beautiful, so much money has been put into it. And it's not necessarily like a class thing, like I mean, some of it is, but not necessarily. Some of it is just, one thing I've really learned to accept is, look, the sun, look how we're this close to the equator, right? The equator is like over here. The sun is really powerful. There's a constant trade wind blowing from the northeast, which is one of the things that makes being there bearable in the sun, because the wind is constant. Look, you can even see the kind of scar of the wind here on these dunes. And the air is obviously extremely salty. So structures, concrete, steel, metals, they don't last long. They need a lot of upkeep. So stuff will collapse if it doesn't get kept up. This is over here, right here. There's a nice like surf shop down here in this building that has some cool shirts that me and Mrs. Bob got. I used to work in this building, in this hotel, and I used to come here. This is like a mall, to get some Wendy's, and I'd come sit here. Wait, did I get there? No, this is the same spot. Yeah, right here. That's over here. And I just sit by the sea, and I may have gotten a picture of one. Yes, I'd feed the iguanas my extra fries. They're like little iguanas, sometimes some pelicans and stuff here. Sometimes you'd see a cruise ship leave. You can kind of see how there's a channel here that's been kind of drilled into the seabed. And like, back then, it's funny, right? Back then, I just wanted to get away. I just wanted to go back to the Netherlands and get away because the island was so small and whatever. But, having a job where during my lunch I could go there and feed iguanas my fries is still kind of a really cool story. This might be a descendant of one of my old friends. I don't know how old do iguanas get. I don't know. This is a boat called Yo Mama. I had to take a picture of it. It's a boat called Yo Mama. From Ocean Springs, Missouri. Missouri or Mississippi? Mississippi. Or Missouri. It could be both. Joe Mama. Oh yeah, this is the book. See, it's mine! I forgot. Did I write Joe Mama? No, I didn't. I'm too respectful, and I'd let Joe Mama write me. This is a view of the pool at my grandma's house. My grandma's house? My mom's house! Right as the sun is rising. We went into the pool a couple of times really early. Wild iguanas live about 8 years. Okay, then it's definitely like a grandchild. If not great-grandchild of some of the iguanas that I fed. What is a lovely little place. Only problem is, right past these cactuses, and all these plants is a gas station. It's very busy. They built it after they moved into the house. They built that gas station. My mom's husband was very unhappy about that. And on this side, there's like a construction site, and a lot of dust blows over from in there. It's kind of annoying, but look, I'm not gonna complain. Free pool. Great place to have a family barbecue. There I was reading, doing homework for an upcoming video. Really nice place, right? To just sit and read and highlight and drink your tea. Very relaxing. Especially with noise-canceling headphones. Here the dogs are just waiting out the rain. Aren't they cute? Is it a good book? Hamlet on the holodeck. The future of narrative in cyberspace, updated edition. I had this book a long time ago in art school, and one of my classmates borrowed it and never returned it. And one of my upcoming videos is on Hamlet the video game, and I'm like, hey, I remember that book. I could integrate it. Now this is updated in like 2016, I think. So it doesn't include anything about LLMs, thankfully. But like, yeah, I'm reading 350 pages, so I can quote a couple of lines in a video that's about an actual Hamlet video game. And no, the game doesn't get mentioned in the book. Okay, so this is midway through the climb of the Heuberg. So this little hill. You come here, you park your car here, you get on the steps. The real steps only begin here. This picture is taken from barely up here, like over here. And like, it's just under 600 steps. Now, mind you, we were doing this at 10. You can see the sun is already up here. And it had been raining that morning, which is one of the reasons why we only went at 10 and not earlier when we should have. And so the nice thing about Aruba is like, yeah, it's 30 degrees all day, every day, but it's a dry heat, right? And there's wind, so you could sweat it out and cool off. Not when it just rained a bunch and the rain immediately evaporates and the air becomes incredibly humid. So this walk up these steps was kind of exhausting. It was extremely exhausting, physically grueling. One funny thing, you see this van here? This was a taxi that arrived just when we did. One guy came out wearing like an MIT jersey or a Harvard jersey or whatever, and he started running up the steps. And before we even made it up again, he came running down, and then we saw him getting the taxi. He paid a taxi to just come here, run up the steps once, and then go back to his hotel. Very strange. This is much higher up. This is, by this time you're over here, this section. It's near the top. But, like, it's deceptive. Because you think you're near the top, but it curves and goes up still away. But you get beautiful views, of course. There it is. This is the last step. 589. That's, like, right here. Right here. There's a little lookout spot here. And then there's some utility buildings and some antennas and stuff. And there's a nice overlook here. But unfortunately, we were just so exhausted, we just wanted to rest. We just wanted to rest and go back down because we really couldn't enjoy it this time, unfortunately. And that's one of the ways that the rain kind of put a damper on some of our activities. Because last time I went on my own, much earlier in the morning, I took my time. It was a real spiritual experience. I was up there for like half an hour just looking at the airport. You can see the airport from this side. If you're over here, you have a great view of the airport. And I saw a little goat up there. A little goat had climbed all this way up there. And I'm like, oh, that's like a spirit of my ancestors type of thing, right? Well, this time, there was also a friend a little dog. And we were confused because that's quite a way up for a dog, right? It's quite a steep trek. And at first we thought, did someone come up here with the dog? Was there someone behind the buildings with the dog? And now there are a lot of, not wild, loose dogs on Aruba. They generally just walk around and have free reign. It's a little unfortunate that, they can get hit by cars. Not all of them are well taken care of. So we were some of them can be a little aggressive, when you go for a walk to get territorial and whatnot. So we were a little confused. What's a dog doing all the way up here? He followed us. Oh no, this is somewhere else. He followed us down. When we went back down, he just followed us down. It's just a guy that lives there. I suppose he lives in he's from one of these houses here. And he gets attention from people or whatever. But it was the weirdest thing. I mean, I was worried that he was stuck up there, right? That he wouldn't be able to make his way down. But he just kind of, even when other people were coming up as we were going down the stairs, he kind of made room for them. So he's used to it. That's just the little guy whose dominion is that hill. At this point, we were going to a restaurant by the beach. We're taking the dogs with us because the dogs love going to the beach and splashing in the water. They won't go in the pool at all. They love going into the beach water and getting wet. And yeah, they're in the back of the pickup truck. They're tied up. They got collars and leashes on. They're tied up, but they love sticking their head out. And this is over here. This is Surfside. This is one of the lesser beaches on Aruba, as I like to describe it. It's right by the airport, so you can see planes land. It's a short walk from the more kind of commercial shopping area. And there's some restaurants and stuff here. This is a hotel, I think. But yeah, like I said, one of the lesser beaches. And yet, beautiful sunset. And I believe... Hold on. Oh, there's the dogs in the water. They love it. They love it. I mean, it's still a little cloudy, but we still got some nice, you can see the glistening and stuff. What are we looking at here? Just the view of the hotels and stuff. These, oh, you can't see these. Hold on. You can't see these. Oop. These buildings, these condos and stuff are new, very ugly and large. There's some developments that I'm definitely not a fan of. Yeah, like I said, one of the lesser beaches. There's still people swimming here and stuff. There. We saw a plane land. Planes are cool. That's quite possibly the same plane we took. Yeah, that's nice to see. And then, yeah, seeing the sunset, seeing the doggos. I mean, come on. How does this not heal the soul, Some more pictures. This is when I found Blue Sky, the main servers. I didn't think of it, but I should have gone in and complained about the shitty moderation. Alright, I was just, I wasn't thinking about it, but just so you know, if you need to go and complain in person, this is where you do it. This one was for Noya. I think Noya is streaming right now. But Noya, if you're watching, I didn't get anything from here because I didn't have coins. This is this is just a pigeon on a cactus. Sometimes in life, you use your eyeballs and you see a pigeon sitting on top of a cactus, a little birdie, and you're just like, I have to take a picture of that. I have to. This is a much nicer bird than a pigeon. This is a trupial. It's technically a blackbird, I believe, of that species. It's a beautiful songbird. They have this beautiful song that they sing, and they're just very, very yellow-orange. I believe the official bird of Venezuela or whatever. Very pretty bird, very common. And yeah, clouds and cactus. I didn't even frame this picture on purpose like this. It would almost be perfect if this palm tree were more in the middle. What is this? What is that? UFO or bird? This is Spanish Lagoon. Spanish Lagoon. These are all the rules. These are all the rules, alright? It's a protected wetland area under the Ramsar Convention since 1980. No motorized vehicles. No fishing. Leave no trace. Do not litter, you motherfucker. Disturbing, hunting, trapping, collecting, and feeding. Prohibited. Keep quiet. No kayaking or boating in the lagoon. I have seen people do that, but that was 30 years ago. Entry prohibited for dogs, cats, and other domestic animals and exotic species. No drone flying. And no metal detecting. So, this area is interesting because... Okay. We're going on a bit of a trek here. This is Spanish Lagoon. This is the water treatment plant and power company. This is where all the electricity comes from and the water. Right here is this little thing where the water goes in. I don't know what it's called geologically speaking. And it opens up into this little lagoon. And this lagoon is also where, when it rains, all the water from the hills kind of trickles down to that. You have so many of these dry riverbeds that fill up when it rains, and it all goes in here. But also, here are more ruins. These are ruins of a... what would you call it? A gold smelter. In the mid-1800s, gold was discovered over, like, in these hills. And naturally, industry sprung up as they tried to extract as much gold as possible. Then they built this in, I think, early 1900s. It lasted just about 15 years before all the gold was exhausted and there was no more gold to be found on the island. So it was a bit of a waste, but it led to beautiful ruins. Now, the interesting thing is this building right here, and we'll see some pictures of it closer up soon. This was built in the 1980s? Some businessman wanted to like build a party center here, basically, and it never got finished. So the biggest building of this historical complex of the early 1900s is an ugly building from the 80s that is itself now also a ruin. And I just find that interesting. So here's some chemical containers, I suppose, concrete and metal. Here are the old buildings. This is literally this building here. I'm pretty sure. This presumably used to hold some kind of huge wheel, water wheel, or steam powered. I don't know. Here's a view from up higher, and you can see the lagoon down there. We're gonna get closer to it too. This is some kind of water tank. That's this. It goes pretty deep. And then here's a view from outside the party building. More. You can kind of see that it's like a little hazy. This is this hill is the tallest hill. It's called Yamanota. There's a big radio tower on it. It's like 180 something meters. Not very tall at all. Yeah, this is the party building. As you can see, it's in itself in a complete state of disrepair. I wonder to what extent they'll protect this if it ever collapses. There's another thing we almost visited. There is a here by the mangroves. Where is it? Here, there's this little reef. If you kind of look, this building has the shape of a boat. This was like a restaurant or nightclub that someone built here in the 70s. This is the what remained of the walkway to it that went through these mangroves. It's in the shape of a ship, which is kind of funny. Let me see if I can look it up. I can Google it real quick. Yeah, here you can see a good picture of it. We wanted to go take a look at it, but we didn't have time. I always thought this would be an interesting setting for a short little horror game, you know. Yes, but back to the lagoon. Here, Isla de Oro is in Hitman, isn't it? It could be. Is it affected by the tides there? Not really. The tides aren't very big. It is like under contention, because if you look a little further. Where is it? Over here, look. Someone here has... This was where my brother's wedding was, this venue. And this is where... Reset to north. You know, someone is building like these little super expensive luxury huts. You know, these things that cost like $3,000 a night to rent or whatever. And the person that is building this, she also wants to redevelop this area. And she had even already started construction, and there was a court case to remove the construction equipment from this little reef because it's not allowed. It's not technically protected land, but it's still under contention. But I find it more fascinating as a ruin of something. But yes. Hey, Ebler fan. I wish. Yes. So here's cactus growing upside down. Cactus will find a way, I tell you. It's just growing upside down. They don't care. We're gonna see some more interesting cactus soon. And again, here more the ruins. This is the big building. This is this large central processing building or whatever. Some cool architecture. You can see it's made from the local kind of coral rock. I would love to find historical pictures of it. What it looked like in full operation. This is a well? You know, everybody needs a well. Here's a view. Here's a view. Now here's this, here you can see this collapsed recently. Very recently, in fact. This building, the corner just collapsed. So, you know, time fucks all. That's this building over here. Because the path was a little blocked. So it's interesting to see that happening in kind of real time as the ruins are falling more and more apart. I don't even know how you would preserve this. You know, it's just rocks stacked on top of each other with some shitty mortar. It was never meant to last more than 20, 30 years, maybe. This is another one. This collapsed a little less recently. And then, yeah, these big tanks and stuff are also, of course, buckling, but that's rusting and stuff like that. I think, this is in the Netherlands? No. This is not the Netherlands. Well, I mean, it's the Kingdom of the Netherlands, but it's not the Netherlands. But it is the Netherlands, but it's not the Netherlands? But it is the Netherlands, but it's not the Netherlands? Here's Big Cactus. Hey, Grace! Thank you. Why? is Robot Bob not working. I don't like this. Well, you didn't say anything. How are you doing, Grace? Well, it's not... Ibler, it's not the Netherlands in the sense that it's a separate country, unlike French Guiana, which is like over here somewhere, which is literally just France. How are you doing, Grace? I have missed you. Week 2 of the new job! Sick! What is it? Is it a better job? Are you enjoying it? Can I come visit? Twitch speaker. Oh, OBS, what are you doing? Basically same job, but without the bullshit. I'm very happy for you. And I always knew better things would happen for you. Okay. Here we are entering Little Store, 5-minute walk from home. Awesome. So the biomes of Aruba, right, is like, if you have to do it like Minecraft-wise, it's like asphalt. Never will have to get up at 4 again, ever. Sick. I love it. I know French territories are France, but it's pretty close with those Netherlands dependencies. Is that the right word? No. There are two different kinds of Ibler. There are two different kinds of I mean, technically, basically, the way it officially works is the Kingdom of the Netherlands has 4 countries in it. The Netherlands, Aruba, Curacao, and Saint Martin. Those are 4 separate countries that are all equal. But the islands rule themselves, have their own parliament and their own laws and whatever. And the kingdom deals with defense and all that kind of shit. And then the other 3 islands, which is Bonaire, which is like this little puppy over here, which is bigger than Aruba but has a much smaller population, and Saba and Saint Eustatius, which are tiny countries. They are special municipalities, which basically means we're too small. The 4th Bob anniversary? We'll have to celebrate, Grace. We'll have to find a way. I'll have a little cupcake. Back to biomes. Biomes are concrete and asphalt. Don't worry. Oh. I'll get back to Ibler in a sec. Concrete and asphalt. Cactus and brush. Baldened by the wind. Beach. And, for a few small little tiny parts, wetland and mangrove. This tiny little bit of mangrove here. Tiny itty bitty bit of mangrove here. A little bit here. And that's it. And those are the biomes.
Exclamation. Ebler__fan has resubscribed to the BOBSTREAM and has been a subscriber for 3 months. Okay, a Prime sub has just become available.
Thank you, Ibler. Now you're ad-free. Okay, so where did we leave off on sovereignty? I said technically 4 constituent countries of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And then the other 3 islands, which are all... Well, 2 of which are tiny and have populations under 5,000. And Bonaire, which is geographically bigger than Aruba, but has a 1/5 of the population. Those are special municipalities in the country of the Netherlands. But I guess they count as territory of the Netherlands, the country, in the same way that France has these overseas territories. That's probably the closest you got. But Aruba and Curacao and Saint Martin are equal to the Netherlands as a country. Anyway, we're going into the mangrove zone. So what we did is we walked from here, the ruins of the Balashi gold smelter, refinery, whatever, down past these mangroves, all the way here, up to these bridges. And it's so fascinating because you're literally walking around along this path, and it's literally the border between the two biomes. You literally see the path is the border. So you can see here cactus, brush, mangrove. Mangrove. And of course, and the sounds are so different, and you're not, when you live on Aruba, you're not in the mangroves at all ever. And it sounds and feels different, and there's a lot of mosquitoes. And it's so fascinating. It gets so dark, and it's so different from the rest of the island. See, here's the little mangrove roots trying to find water. I guess there is a little bit of tidal activity here. It could also be that the water here rises when it rains, since that's where a lot of the dry riverbeds go to. I'm already losing my voice. It's only been an hour. I'm rusty. I haven't streamed in a while. Here too, this fucking tree has armpit hair, dude. That's fascinating. It's just so interesting to see. Like, the Netherlands doesn't really have different biomes either, right? It's city or it's landscaped. And Aruba is kind of similar in that it's very densely populated. This is a fossil, I guess, fossil remnant in the coral. Here you see the mangrove tree shooting up. This is... Oh, there's a lot of flies on it? The flies? I don't know what that is. I don't know what is this? What would this be called? This is like a little cactus, a little round cactus. These are very common on Aruba. They're called bushies or something like that. And these they grow these little fruits. Now these little fruits are delicious, but don't eat them when they're in the wild. Not because they're bad, but because they're food for the little lizards and birds and stuff that live there. If you have one of these in your yard, which my mom does, then you can just grab them and eat them. But if you see them in the wild, leave them alone. The climate is affected by the continent because it's so close to South America. Correct. Correct. The hurricane zone ends here. So when hurricanes do come down here, they just brush the islands. And I think the arid, kind of temperate, arid area is exactly this. Because here you can see Venezuela gets a lot greener and junglier. But this area is very similar. There's a name for it. Good news for Aruba re-hurricanes. Yeah, at least until the climate change happens. I'm assuming proximity to the continent is going to keep that protection. But that's one of the reasons why tourism is so successful there. Because you don't have that problem, and the rainy season isn't that rainy. This is the bridge. I have no idea what the bridge is called, but this bridge is from after I left. It was this road before, this little bridge, and then they built this beautiful, magnificent 4-lane bridge when I was gone. A lot of infrastructure has improved since I left, which is weird but nice to see. Every single crossing is a roundabout. Every single one. Freshwater on Aruba is easy to manage. Freshwater on Aruba is easy to manage because this is a desalination plant. And not only is it a desalination plant, Aruba has some of the best water you will ever drink out of the tap because of the desalination plant, because it's not reliant on rainwater, and there's no real fresh surface water to speak of. Aruba has I believe it has won awards. There's awards for tap water. Aruba has won it. So it's plentiful and delicious. And you'll see occasionally on the hills, like here, these are these big tanks. They're spread all over the island. There's another one. There's another one here. That's not a great picture. And then there's another one here. No, this is the really big one. That they pump the water to, and then they let gravity do the rest of the work. Where does the energy to run the desalination plant come from? Well, the desalination plant is also the power plant, which, at least for the time being, is gas-powered. Actually, fascinating. So this is where the refinery is. It's really just a terminal now. There's not much refining going on anymore. It was, at least during World War II, the largest refinery in the world. I think, according to the book I have on it, on the history of it, it was responsible for like 10% of the Allied naval fleet fuel sourcing or whatever. Got attacked by the Nazis a couple of times. But Aruba refined Venezuelan oil. Yes, all the oil came from here. All the oil comes from here. All the Venezuelan oil is here. Lake Maracaibo. The lightning capital of the world. So Aruba and Curacao. Curacao also has a lot of industrial remnants. But what were during, or at least preceding World War II, the largest refineries on the planet. But another cool piece of infrastructure is, where are we? You see this bridge. This is a pipe that runs all the way through to, I think it's still here. Here it is still. All the way here it is still. Here it is still. Keeps going all the way to the refinery. I think that's technically still where it gets the gas from. So before tourists, the money came from oil. Yeah. I think that's probably like a lot of money came from oil. A lot of money came from oil. And made it very prosperous very quickly. And then the refinery itself shut down. And, you know, it declined. Well, one, there was a refinery here also, but this is all hotels now. Which bodes well for this becoming hotels at some point. If the infrastructure allows it. But, you know, what's funny is the Spanish had declared these islands useless. Because, you know, they're arid. They had already deported all the natives and killed them in the mines in Hispaniola. There wasn't like a lot of easy to reach natural resources. At some point, when the Dutch took it, they bred horses, they grew stuff, like hardwood, and some crops, you know, but nothing big. Then gold was discovered. It was maybe a 30-year kind of extraction of gold. And then the refinery was the big thing for most of the 20th century, but it started declining in the 60s, I think. And then in like 1985-ish, right when Aruba won politically its independence in what was then the Netherlands Antilles, that's another rabbit hole for you to go down, Eblair. The changes in the political situation among the Dutch colonies. The refinery shut down, which was like really bad for the economy. But they had already spent a decade or so pivoting to tourism, and then they went all in on it. And they're still going all in on it. And, you know, to some extent it ruins things, because here, I'll have pictures from here too. This is like another natural wetland. Look at these. These are also from after my time. These fucking monstrosities built right on top of it. Damn shame. But, you know, it's a very prosperous, very rich place because of all those American dollars. Which helped build this beautiful bridge, which we went very close to. I love infrastructure. Suriname used to be Dutch Guyana, correct? It's tiny already. It might not survive the wetland, yeah? This bridge is really cool. It's really cool to be under a bridge, especially when it's like protected wetland underneath. And it keeps going for a little bit, and then this is the former road bridge, which is now a bike path. Surprising amount of bicycle paths have been added in the 20 years since I left. Might need more proliferation of electrical bikes, e-bikes, to really get it going. It's a very car-centric culture, unfortunately. But it's nice to have the infrastructure there. And then there's Yamanota again, which is right here, the tallest hill. And that was our journey through the wetlands. There's a tiny little palm tree. It's not a palm tree. This is a plant called Seida. I don't know what kind of plant it is in any other language. And some fossils or fossilized coral, whatever. And then here's a close-up of the lagoon itself. That's like right here on the beach here. It gets very muddy here. If you watch out, you can really sink your feet. Actually, something very interesting. I'm gonna link to it in chat. Aruba, what was it called? Turning the Tide. There's a full-length documentary about kind of the attempts to conserve the wetlands and coral reefs of the island. Really well produced, so there's a link to it. Watch it after you're done. You'll be listening to a lot of Papiamento, but there's also English and Dutch being spoken in it. What was next? Next, we were going to... Oh, right after. Right after. We were going to the Donkey Sanctuary. So, when I lived there, donkeys, who are not, you know, native to the island, but more, they were brought in as what do you call it? You know, workhorses, work donkeys in the olden times. I'm gonna cough myself to death now. Hold on. But after the automobile, they were just let loose. The automobile became one of their greatest enemies because they would be wandering around wildly and get hit by cars and stuff. So eventually people got together and said, hey, we need to get a little donkey sanctuary together. Give these guys a safe little life. They got so many donkeys. They got so many cute donkeys. There's a donkey. There's a donkey. Donkey, 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 donkey. And a rooster. Welcome to our donkey sanctuary. Entrance is free of charge. All donations are very welcome. You could just walk among them. They're just walking around. They're just chilling, pooping, eating, drinking, scrubbing their butts against a cactus or something, or against a rock. Sleeping, of course, in the sun. Very friendly. There's some art. Some donkey art. There's peacocks. I don't know. I don't know why there's... I can understand why there's chickens and roosters. I don't know where there's peacocks. That's also art. There's a little driftwood donkey. This one's kind of cute, I thought. You can feed the donkeys. You can buy a little bucket of feed and feed the donkeys. You can ask for their adoption program. They have a... Oh, look how cute. Look how cute that little guy. Look. He just wants food. They also have a bunch of cats walking around who are also up for adoption. Really sweet. This one was in a cage because... was still, like, recently had surgery or something. There's Mrs. Bob feeding a donkey. Here's cool historical pictures of donkeys on the island. So here, this is the museum. Donkeys were brought to Aruba around the year 1500, so basically immediately with contact. Donkeys had an important role in the freshwater distribution. Bucket carriers. What does that say? Mita bende something something. Awa di yobe. That means rainwater. Awe mita bende, that means today I'm selling. Mayang mita fija. That means tomorrow I'm something. Tired? Not sure. They were used as a way of transportation, people and goods. That guy is too big for that donkey. I'll say that. This guy's alright. but were replaced by cars in the middle of the 1900s, and finally they were set free and left on their own until the sanctuary was built. This peacock was peacocking, showing off. Definitely worth a visit if you ever go there. It's just open and free. Really sweet. And okay, so this confused us at first. So you have all these little tiles that get printed out if you donate enough money, right? And it's mostly people's names. This one said, "With all our love to our son Santa, Mom and Dad Trent." And at first we were like, look, we've seen Americans give their kids crazier names. There might be a child out there named Santa. Until later, of course, we realized the donkey they adopted was named Santa. Still a weird phrase, "with all our love to our son Santa." Here's a cute little mural of the sanctuary. There's a pig on there. I did not see any pigs. Was a little disappointed. Would have loved to see pigs. There were, however, baby peacocks. Little baby peacocks. Look at them. Tiny little baby peacocks. I don't know if they breed the donkeys at all, or what the deal is there, because presumably they have, at this point, the sanctuary has existed for like 20 years, I think. They have rounded up. There's no more wild donkeys. All of them have been safely rescued. I don't know if there's any kind of breeding program, or they let them breed, or how they control the population that way. I don't know what the deal there is. It was just young volunteers. This is Eagle Beach. Unfortunately, a bit of a cloudy day. This is Eagle Beach. That's this entire area here. You may have heard me talk about Eagle Beach before. It has been voted on TripAdvisor or one of those websites as, like, was it #2 beach in the Caribbean or even the world? And it's just a nice, publicly accessible beach. And it's not even that busy. And it's just endless and beautiful and gorgeous. This is it on a bad day. The sun was doing weird things with the clouds, which was cool. So this is the king of all beaches, essentially. This is also, look here, sometimes you see this square. There's little fencing. This is where leatherback turtles lay eggs. That was hatching season too. We didn't get to see any. I went once as a kid to because they hatch at night, right? I went once as a kid to see if they would hatch with a whole group, but they didn't, so I didn't get to see it. Very endangered, but this is one of the spots. They're very picky and choosy about where they lay their eggs. So that's really cool. This is the Nautical Club. My mom's husband is like a member of the board there. It's just this little tiny little marina and restaurant and club and whatever, but it has a view of right there. View of the crane, of the cargo harbor crane. There it goes. See that there? That's the sun. There. That round thing? That's the big ball of sky that was responsible for all the horror yesterday. And this is like my Google Pixel doing a terrible job of upscaling the sea. This is what Mrs. Bob got on at the restaurant. These are like little fish balls. This is criollo sauce. This is some fried bananas. That's all like typical Caribbean stuff, right? But this is purely Aruban. This is called pan bati. Means beaten bread. It's like a sweet flatbread. Delicious, delicious, especially with fish and stuff. Wonderful. It was very good. Oh, this time, this is me. Look, there I am. This is the, if we go over here, not very far. Oh, wait, where am I? I'm completely lost. I thought we were still at Eagle Beach. Here. This is the aloe factory. There's a brand called Aruba Aloe, which has been making, like, stuff with aloe for... Ooh. This is the 1800s. Aloe is also not native. Aloe, I believe, is an African plant. But they grow the aloe here, and then they have a big old factory here, and you can kind of walk around and look at... They have, like, a little museum of the history of the brand and the factory and the workers. And they have a big store. They have so many products. So many products that, in fact, this small field of aloe in no way covers all the stuff that they do there. So I think there might be some shenanigans afoot with regards to where they source their products. All of them say proudly made in Aruba. And I'm like, yeah, bottled. But here you see some of the fact we were not supposed to take pictures. Shh. I only saw the sign after. This is where they mix all the shit and package it. Also, did you know the skin is the largest organ of your body? Without it, you'd literally evaporate. I don't think that's true. I don't think all of you would evaporate without your skin. I mean, I think a lot of other stuff would happen. Let's assume your pain sensors get disabled, and then you lose your skin. You dry out probably. But you dry out, but you wouldn't evaporate. Like, evaporate means you like Thanos snapped, right? That means evaporate. That means your entire body, bones and all, dissipates. Anyway, I'm arguing with marketing material. These are the aloe fields. Some of them get harvested, but I think a lot of them are for show. It was weird because it was my assumption that this entire green section was their farming area, but it's really only this. I think it's only for show. Here's the flags, baby. Here's the flags. Here's more foot stuff. There's a little tree with a hammock right by the pool. So relaxing. Also, just in case you ever stay at my mom's place and you want to chill in this hammock, use bug spray. Use insecticide. Spray yourself very thoroughly, because the mosquitoes, they will bite. Especially me. They love my blood. Here's an ad for the Saloon Aruba, the only country bar in Aruba. So, you know, just if you go take your Caribbean tropical vacation and you're like, man, this is cool and all, but I need a country bar is what I need. I need to be a cowboy. Go to the saloon. There's Pepper being a goofball. There's Snowy being adorable. I said this on Blue Sky when I posted this there, but it is my firm belief. Like I'm not very spiritual, right? I believe in a physical universe and whatever. But it is also my belief that all cats are psychically connected, and that when I pet Snowy, Artorias could feel it. Is there a CEX? Absolutely not. I don't think there's even a dedicated game store. There was a dedicated game store when I lived there. Even to the point where at some point they were big enough where you could pay to play PlayStation games and shit. You could pay for an hour to play stuff. I don't think that lasted very long. And I think they're now just electronic stores and people order stuff from Amazon. In fact, Fluff, there's not even a CEX in Leiden anymore. There's not even a CEX in the Netherlands anymore. They all closed while I was away. Very rude of them. This is when we went snorkeling. Again, this is like This is like over here. Over on here, this side here. Reset to north. Close. We went snorkeling here. This is a place called Mango Alto, which means high mangrove. This little beach, very shallow. You need water shoes for this because it's all rocky and stuff. And we went snorkeling all the way to out here, and here you can see there's like this deep section. There's even a shipwreck down here somewhere, I believe. And at some point here, I got like a little scared of how deep it was and how far, because our stuff was here. I was a little scared of how far away we were from everything. But it was still beautiful to see all the fishies. Mrs. Bob saw a barracuda. A shipwreck, like a tiny little fishing boat, is down here. There's much bigger shipwrecks, like all over here. There's some beautiful scuba diving areas here. There is one. I don't know if you can see it. There was one. Is this it? That kind of looks like it, doesn't it? A hurricane or a tropical storm kind of pushed it back up, and it kind of broke the surface again. There's also a submarine. There's like a tourist submarine here. There's a little submarine that goes down to some of these reefs. You see parrotfish. Fluff, the reason they closed is not because physical secondhand games and DVDs is diminishing. One, they stopped selling DVDs a long time ago. The reason is they kept getting robbed. They kept getting robbed. And they were like, we keep losing employees. It's not worth the insurance. We're going to close all our physical stores. Here's another view of the snorkeling area. Yeah, look, right there. That's the Isla de Oro. That's the little building shaped like a boat. Oh, we're on the way back. I don't know why I took a picture of this. There's snowy again. So my last name is quite common on Aruba. Like I thanks to one of my history books, I traced the original Frenchman with that name who moved to the Caribbean in the 1700s. And there's a jewelry store called Audebert's Golden Palace, and I had to take a picture of it because this is eventually what I'm gonna name my castle, right? I have to. Also, this area is called Cumana. And, some people, when they put their address on their house or whatever, they do like 2 or 3 letters. So there's a few houses out there with just the word "cum" on it and a number. Just in case you want to see something funny when you're there. Here's another sunset. So Panda does this thing where, to cool off, he dips his foot into his water bowl. And he just chills there. And he just sits there for like a solid 2 hours. Thanks, E. Blair. He just sits there for a solid 2 hours. Just chilling. Letting the blood circulate. And I think it's adorable. Oh, this is some infrastructure that I don't know what this is. But this is leading up to something cool. But this looks very old. But this is leading up to something very cool. I'm not going to say where this is. Because... well, okay, you get a nice view of the Hooiberg. This is cool too. When these trees that blossom yellow are called Quibrahacha, which means axe breaker. They're a Brazil wood, I think, a very hard wood. They blossom, I think, only twice per year when it rains. So it's a beautiful and rare sight to actually see them. So here there's a little bit of a cliffside, right? There's the blossoms again. So there's a bit of a path up that cliffside. And there's a lizard. Hello, Mr. Lizard. There's a bit of a path up that cliffside. And then you reach the cliffside. And then you find a cave. And there's a little sign there that says, please do not draw on the painting. And there's fucking Indian cave paintings in there. I've never been here before, and this is a kind of out-of-the-way place. This is not a very touristy place. And there's beautiful, untouched cave paintings. Now, I want to see if these are in my big book. So I have to go look at the index for a second. Because I was under the understanding that some of these paintings are relatively recent discoveries. Which makes me wonder if this book, which was published in 2019, has them. It says them with a star. Limestone landscape. I think it does have them. I don't see that one. See you later, Disty. Enjoy your dinner. There it is. There it is. That's awesome. That's so cool. There's so many more than I thought. Even. That means it's complete. But yeah, look at these, all these beautiful geometric shapes. Squiggles, and there's like the walls are covered in these spider webs. That looks like a little mouse or something, right? That looks like something. Just a ton of them. And there was a Dreamcast logo drawn into the dirt of the floor. That's not original or pre-Columbian. So, Eblair fan, in one of the bigger, more accessible caves, Campful. This has happened. You see, people have scratched into the wall of the cave. Even back, look, that one's from 1872. Which is a goddamn shame. Some of them have been ruined completely. But, you know, what can you do? The passage of time. Look, these have just been scratched to all fuck. To the point where it's really hard to figure out what they even represented. I believe I found one with very, very ornately, beautifully scribed my last name on it. I don't know if they have a picture of that one here. Now there's the cave has a gate, and there's always a ranger present, you know. But you will still occasionally have some asshole who's like, hey, gonna add my name to it too. What can you do? But these are completely untouched. So the cave is not very big. The cave is like this room times 3 maybe, and there's a couple of curves. Stick around, Eblair, because I went to a museum too. This is not a real urn or pot or anything. Somebody just put this here to kind of give Indian vibes, I think. But yeah, if you go deeper, there is still some more stuff there. And then if you climb a little higher, oh, this is me coming out of the cave, wearing my sick Bill and Ted shirt. If you climb a little higher, there's more holes. There's no drawings up here, I believe. You have to kind of crawl over a rock and through a couple of holes, and I had spider webs all over my hair. And then you get these beautiful views still. Unfortunately, like, there's a concrete plant right in the way. So that ruins the view a little bit. But these are beautiful. This is a view of the hotels. Here's all the high-rise hotels. This would be the beautiful beach where we were. And yeah, there it is again. Also, there's a genuine 19th century windmill I'm guessing the Dutch introduced the yellow-flowered Brazil wood trees as they are valued and native to coastal forests of Brazil. Yeah, I think maybe the Dutch, maybe the Spanish. Brazil wood was one of the earliest. Like, I want to make a complete line because the Spanish called them useless islands, but there have been so many ways that the island has been exploited. Raising goats and horses. And Brazil wood was one of the kind of the first things that was, yeah, how would you call it? First thing that was grown on the island by colonial forces, but it might have been the Spanish even. Okay, so here we go to the wetlands again. This is a place called Bubali. Harvested, yeah. Yeah, wetlands. There's a water. There's like a sewage processing plant here. If you go here, there's a little lookout. And again, this is so unusual. There are ducks here. There aren't ducks anywhere else on the island. You know, there's no ducks by the sea. You will occasionally find these reservoirs where rainwater collects. There aren't any ducks there. But here there's ducks, and a ton of them. And they're beautiful. And there's little teenage ducks. And there's a little group of chickies over there. Check it out. Mama's protecting them. Mrs. Bob going to check something. No, she went to throw out something. And it's just so strange to have this tiny little biome of completely different kinds of nature there. These plants don't grow anywhere else on the island. Well, this lizard is common. They're farmyard ducks. Yeah, sure, of course, but like most, look, the donkeys and the goats and whatever aren't, and the Brazil wood aren't native either. But they thrive and live there in a way that they don't anywhere else. No fishing, no boating, no swimming. All right, please. The lookout tower was rusty as fuck, by the way. This is a really ugly hotel that was also built after I left, and I hate it. It doesn't, architecturally, it doesn't fit into the landscape at all. This one I like. This one's old. This one's from like the 80s. It's like right here. Just, I don't even know what it's supposed to be. Southeast Asian? I don't know. The wildlife seems to have gone. Some of the pre-Columbian cave drawings or rock drawings show seals. There used to be seals here. But like that's the thing too, before colonization, obviously this was all grown, but even the wild parts were more wildly grown. It was more forested. And the goats, when they imported goats, they just raised through everything. Oh, I got a little panorama going. From the windmill all the way to that other area. Oh, and there's the hill in the middle. Goats do devastate islands. Here's Kirby and a flattened plankton. We also found a condom right by the stairs. There's the windmill again. What's weird is the windmill doesn't have a name. We have some old windmills in town here in Leiden. They all have names, but this is just called the Old Mill. But it was some Dutch guy in the 70s who was just like, you know, no problem, Juge. No problem, Juge. Take it easy. Don't worry. Some Dutch guy in the 70s was like, oh, I have an idea for tourists. Let's bring over this windmill. Here, this is the, okay. There's multiple things here. This is the Natural History Museum. Not the Natural History Museum, sorry, the Archaeological Museum. And this is also the former family home, beautifully restored, sorry, of Boy Écurie, who is a World War II Dutch resistance hero. He was executed in the dunes of The Hague for being a member of the Dutch resistance in 1944, I think. He's Aruba's big World War II hero. I don't know if there's more than one. But his family was rather wealthy, and they had this beautiful house that has now partly been converted into the archaeological museum. This is a book that I want. Because this is like it has the same name as this. I think it's the same author. The Archaeology of Aruba, the Tunky Flip site. Tunky Flip is a location where they found a lot of basically a lot of archaeological remains that look like this. A lot of pottery, some of it quite ornate. This is what a little Kaikatio village used to look like. This is a Tunky Flip site, I believe. This is reconstructed. How their houses used to look. These are some old pipes. There's ceramic. There's two periods there's two distinct cultures that inhabited Aruba before European contact. One of which did not use ceramics, so they're called pre-ceramics. And we don't know much about them, but they're like physiologically distinct, and their graves are different. And they arrived on the island anywhere between 5,000 to 1,000 BC. And then you have the Kaikatio, who are more distinct, more technologically advanced and physiologically distinct people who arrived somewhere between 1000 BC to 500 CE. This was funny too. The museum had like this section on Carnival. You know, Carnival is a very Caribbean thing. It had this one woman who went every year for 20 years and had all her outfits and stuff on display. My mom has participated a few times too. In fact, this is her participating that very same year with a variation of the same costume, because they kind of had to... You get the pattern for the costume when you're in the group, and then you have to make it yourself. My mom won an award this year. This was 2009 for this costume. That is now a lesser version of which is now hanging in the museum. I thought that was nice. That was fun because we went with my mom. So she saw it and she was like, "Oh wait, look, I have a picture of this." That was really cool. My mom is basically a historical figure. She's kind of like one of those people that has touched everyone on the island in some way over her lifetime, you know. Here's more pottery. You can see they have very distinct drawings and markings and details. This is like just a painting of what they may have looked like. Bob's mom's museum material. It's true. It's true. Statue maybe too. This is I thought was cool. This is a language map, I believe, of the Kaikatio language and related languages, which is fascinating. The language died out, as most of them did, in 1500-ish, because the Europeans completely annihilated the culture, Spanish in particular. But a lot of words still survive, even in place names and plant names and animal names and stuff. Here too, you can see, like, I can't say that the Kaikatio are my ancestors because I don't think they have any, or at least the ones on Aruba. Also, why on this map in an Aruban museum is Aruba drawn so crudely and not shaped like Aruba at all? That doesn't seem right. I do have native ancestry, but it's probably more from the Colombian side. But yeah, these people came from deep in the Amazon and thought like, hey, let's go to these islands. They're a lot nicer. Less snakes. They had little animal sculptures, some of which are quite intricate. This I thought was beautiful. This is like some kind of water vessel, but they would put these faces. This is how these kinds of artifacts are how they were able to connect the people of Aruba tribes and stuff because there's like similarities in how they would do their potteries, the faces and stuff like that. This too, this is, I don't know if this is ceramic or carved out of shell, but it's striking, you know? It's like, there's something beautiful and extremely sad about it. These patterns too, they're so intricate. They're super cool. This is, I don't know what this is. They're not testicles. I think this is like some kind of bug. Here too, this is very, it's just, they destroyed this, you know? They saw this and said, fuck them. Let's work them to death. And then when we run out, we're going to go to Africa. Yeah, Ibler, look, like, the story is always there were about 800 natives on Aruba alone, and maybe 1,000 more on Curacao and Bonaire, all put together. Although Aruba has more archaeological evidence and far more cave and rock paintings than the other ones. And in 1515, the Spanish just took them all and sent them to Haiti to work in mines and on fields. And supposedly at some point sent them back, but I don't think that's likely. And there may have been ones that escaped, either hid in caves or in forests, or went to the mainland, but their culture was destroyed. Right? And later natives who then settled on the island were transplants from Venezuela. So they're basically colonized Aruba a third time, essentially, and then with a lot of colonial influence and Christianity, etc., etc. So all of this was lost. You know, these things meant something super important. This is a little guy. What is this? Like, is this some kind of deity? Is it an animal? Why did it look like that? Right? How cool is it that it has like a face, but also this pattern on it? Would they paint their own faces, these patterns? What did they worship? Who did they worship? We don't know. This one really got to me because this is also a little guy. There's like a certain kind of joy in it. These patterns. You know, there's something like I'm wondering too, like, is this supposed to mimic textiles of some sort? What is the meaning behind it? There you go. This is a modern dugout canoe, similar in styles to canoes historically used by the Amerindians. And then this is cool. This is in front of the museum. This is a canoe, as it says here, a gift from the Wayu community of Riohacha, Colombia, to the people of Aruba. That's Riohacha is like over here somewhere, I believe. Somewhere here there's a town. Yes, I think. And I believe because I think my whatever native blood I do have, or like Mesoamerican blood, according to my MyHeritage DNA, about 20%, I would have to have from my dad's side, because my mom's side is pretty white. Although who knows? And I believe I heard my mom say at some point that my grandpa's family came from Riohacha. So, am I related to those people? Quite possibly. Here's another view of the building. It's really beautiful. Beautifully restored. It was nice because last year they were still, when I went, they were still working on it. And this is supposed to be the main entrance, but we have to go in through a side entrance. So it was nice to get the main entrance. The house itself is also a museum because there's a lot of original furniture and family pictures and even like a bookcase full of old encyclopedias and books that belong to the family. So that's kind of cool. This is a sign I saw at the Starbucks at the Renaissance Hotel and Casino, and it was a sign. The sign is a sign. The sign was Mrs. Bob was on the lookout for like a premium quality souvenir And Starbucks apparently has this thing where they have like location mugs, and they had a really pretty mug, a pretty big mug for her tea with like beautiful drawings of Aruba on it. That was the sign. $17, totally worth it. This is a palm tree. There's some birds. This was okay. So my mom's husband is German, and he loves a good barbecue. And every time we come around is another excuse for barbecue. Steak, ribs, sausage. Perfection. Absolute perfection. Incredibly delicious. The dog's got all the bones. Here's the pool at night. Too much salad. I didn't eat most of it. I had a lot more bread. I'll tell you that. Here's the sky at night. We wanted to do a little stargazing, but it was so cloudy most of the time. Okay, so this is on the road to Alto Vista. The same Alto Vista as here's Outpost Alto Vista. That, see that building there? That building is right here somewhere. Where is it? Here? Here. This. It's a little church. This is the site of, but not the actual building of, the first chapel on the island. Built in 17 something. The current building is from the 50s. We were gonna go for a little hike all throughout like this entire area, I think. How far do we go? Wait, where is the water tank? Okay. We went like over here, all through here. See you later, you Blair. So a couple of things to note. One, it's a cute little building. Two, from this Google Earth pic, you can see there's buses and there's like stalls of people selling touristy crap. When we came by last year, there were so many fucking tourists and a bunch of little market stalls selling all kinds of garbage souvenirs and shit. They have cleaned it up entirely. This has been turned into a nice little parking lot. Buses are not allowed anymore. And there's only 2 stalls that are allowed to be here. Wonderful. It was so much quieter and nicer. And it's so nice to see that good things can happen too. Because apparently what people would do is use this area as a toilet. They would just come here and start pissing and pooping. And there'd be thousands of these fucking tourists coming. And just desecrating the place. Now, I don't care for religion. But some people do. And there were people, there's a person in there. There are people in there still using it as a little chapel, you know, as a place of worship. Rules. Silence. Dress modestly. No food, drinks, or smoking. Behave with kindness. That's nice. It's I was trying to be respectful too. I took one picture of the inside, but I was trying to be respectful. Here it is. It's the inside. 1952. There's some people here actually praying, and it's nice to actually see it used not just as a because the thing about tourism is like, I get that everyone wants to go to the beach. I get that everyone wants to go to like a natural site of some kind, or you know, typical touristy things to look at. But sometimes you have these things that become tourist sites, and people visit them because people visit them. They don't visit them because the thing they're looking at is amazing or great. This is just a tiny little building. It's a tiny little chapel. It has history. But like, why do 1,500 tour buses need to come through? It's just because that's another place to dump some tourists and sell them some crap. And I'm glad that enough people have decided that's not really what they want. It's a cute little chapel, you know? There's mountain biking routes. We walked some of this. We're gonna see a lot of cactuses. This is an evil scientist lair. I'm just kidding. It's a big water tank. But it does look like an evil scientist lair. Here you can see a small dry riverbed forming Just 1,000 more rains, and this will be completely carved through. We're also going to be seeing some cool rocks. These are cool rocks. This is cool too. The big cactus grow tall. Sometimes big cactus grow too tall, fall down. But big cactus still alive. So big cactus grow back sideways, up. You know what I mean? I think I described it well. I think you know what I meant. Here's more cool rock. Here's the dogs were, I was just too late. They were hunting lizards. We took the dogs on this hike. They got in the way a lot, but they were hunting lizards. It was adorable. We found the sole of a shoe. Somebody lost their sole on a walk. And then they decided to just leave it there. It doesn't seem like a very good idea, because it's quite rocky and sharp, and there's like cactus needles everywhere and shit. Someone also lost a bike, but a much longer time ago. This has become a bit of a landmark, I think. So this is a really old cactus, and what's cool is then they start getting a trunk, like a needleless trunk, and you can kind of see the bones. Like cactus has a kind of wood skeleton. You don't really think of that, but cactus has kind of a wood skeleton. It's used as a construction material. This bad boy could be like, I don't know, more than 80 years old, I think. I don't really know how old cactus get, but this is a really old cactus. And like, it's collected pieces of itself, you know? And the funny thing is, if it topples, it's gonna block that path. That's me. Proud. Here's also a really old cactus, but this is a different kind of old. This is the kind of cactus that as it ages, it just grows a bigger hat. I think that's funny. It's not as funny that a cactus that just like the cactus itself stays the same. It's just the little fruiting part on top that keeps growing and grows a bigger hat. Zoom out. And this part we started to see the ocean, or the sea. So we kind of went through here. This is a vineyard, believe it or not. Someone here is growing homegrown Aruban wine, a winery, a vineyard, both. It's the evil scientist lair. Still under construction here, actually. I think we walked here. These are the cool rocks. And then we started going towards the coast. You can see the water. Cool view. Cool rock. So what's cool about this rock, these little dark spots inside of it are like different kind of rock. So it's a volcanic rock, and I don't see that a lot. Usually this kind of rock, this kind of beige tan rock, you see them all over the island. They don't have these big black flecks in them. I thought that was cool. And here you see more of it, actually. And this rock is also cool because it's like it's split, but it's split a long time ago because it's been eroded away for quite a bit. And you can see all those black spots. There is the chapel all the way there. It's getting quite warm at this point. Welcome back, Disty. Here's the doggos. Is Aruba mostly coral rocks? No! No, it's also volcanic. There's several geographic... I think Wikipedia has a little bit about the geology of it. But there's several different kinds of formations from different ages. The oldest is like 90 million years old or something. More cool rocks? See, this is not coral rock. This is quartz diorite, I think? I'm not a rock guy. And the sea. What's funny is, again, geography, air currents. The wind comes from here constantly, right? That's why this is a very rugged coast, right? That's why you don't see any building. Thank you, Red. any building here. You see it's very rugged and rocky and cliffsidey and whatever. And what you notice is the plant life starts disappearing also. It starts getting lower and grassier, more cool rocks. I wanted to climb every single one of these rocks. There's like a little goat inside of me that just wants to climb everything. And then, you know, even the cactuses and the trees start disappearing. Oh, hold on. I have audio. Very windy. And it's just rocks and loose coral here at this point. Do I have more video? No, I do have a couple more videos, I believe. Yeah, you can see how wild the sea gets here. There are some beaches that are swimmable, but none of them are super easily accessible, and you can't just drive here with a normal car. You need something a little slightly rugged. And what you will find sometimes as you walk along these cliff sides is you'll find little metal crosses or little stone crosses, because people have fallen in, and you know, if you fall in over here, you might make it to the beach, but if you fall in over here, you're gonna get smashed, and you don't know if there's like underwater caves or anything in there either, you know, and it's very jagged and not very fit for human survival. Here's the dogs. The dogs saw water. You had to go check it out. And coming back. You see here too, there's different kinds of rocks. They're more darker. I call it dark rock. Yeah, it's just a completely different landscape. It's really cool. That's my mom with the dogs. And what's cool is you get a real sense of scale here, because usually when I'm here. This is the old natural bridge. What used to be the natural bridge. You can see collapse. This is where my game is going to take place. And this is like a hill, so you don't see that side unless you cross over here. And here, you kind of see this edge and that's it, right? But when we were over here, you see this entire kind of, I don't know if you call it a cove, but this entire kind of arc. And the sense of scale is much larger than I'm used to from Aruba. It's very interesting. More beautiful rocks. That's this rock field here. Here, this. Just, oh, they want to be climbed. They want to be climbed. I want to be a little monkey. I thought this rock was cool because it's kind of flat, and this almost looks like a moai or something. I thought that was interesting. It has a big nose. What you used to find, you still find it in some spots, is people would stack rocks. Tourists would do that. They would stack rocks into like these little towers. Because the tour operators would say to them that it's like an old Indian practice for good luck or whatever. It's terrible on the ecology. The rocks need to stay where they are. We don't need thousands of people moving rocks. So if you're ever there and you see a stack of rocks, you're sanctioned by me, the official representative of Aruba, to kick it down. Especially in view of whoever's building it. Oh no, I lost my fidget thing. Just rocks. But this is my hand trying to cover the microphone unsuccessfully. The sound of water, huh? There's nothing like it. Oh yeah, and the dogs, especially Luna, love mud puddles to cool off. It was quite hot at this point. Also a mountain biker over there. They really love the puddles. Luna especially likes to get her belly wet. which was adorable until they had to go back into my mom's car. Then it was less fun. Look how self-satisfied she is. Look at that. That's the face of a dog who knows she did bad. Here, more rocks. It's beautiful fields of rocks. I wish I had the... because the game, right? The game that I want to make is set... Well, it's set more here by the natural bridge and this area here. But I'd love to get, like, good drone shots to get beautiful, accurate textures out of it or whatever. My mom's husband does have a drone. Maybe. Maybe someday. There's some fishermen, I think. And then here you can kind of see, there's the chapel all the way there. And you can kind of see the cactuses are growing back. It's just interesting to see that development. Why is the fan still turning? I told you. I don't want you to turn. Thank you. Oh, and so the surrounding area of the chapel, let's go back. So this area here and over here, this seems to me like somebody buried their pet here. Now there is like a, not an official, a common pet cemetery that's over here. Here, this area is called Pet Cemetery, or is it called Pet Cemetery? Anyway, this is where people traditionally bury their pets, even though it's not really official or sanctioned or whatever. But not just their pets. What we found was there's this. Oh, first there's a beautiful panorama. Oh, it wasn't even that big. That's still cool. There's like this weird little art installation-y area someone made, a little rock garden. And what we found is people are buried. It's like right over here. This right here. People are burying their loved ones' ashes, or at least putting up little memorial plaques and flowers. Wilhelmina Theodora Mientje, Elvers van Raal, died 2011. So just fascinating. Right, that the proximity to the little chapel is it makes it sacred, I guess. It gives people a sense of calm. I don't know. This is a painting of my mom's parents when they were young. Some of you may remember my grandmother, this beautiful lady here, passed away earlier in the year. And this was a painting that's still hanging in her house right now. Her house right now is occupied only by the woman who used to take care of her. She still lives there and does some household stuff for everybody every now and then. And my mom uses the building for her ceramic classes and stuff, because my mom owns it. What's even nicer about this painting is this is them, what, in the 90s, I think. When my grandpa was still alive. He died 2003? 2004, maybe? But he had been, what would you call it, basically not here already for a long time, because he suffered a stroke in the late 90s. But the painting is based off of this picture. It's beautiful, still there. I'm kind of hoping my mom does a decent job of preserving some of these. This painting was done by a family friend, a friend of my mom, I believe. Yeah. And this, I don't recall which side anymore, but this is my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather and another great-grandmother. I believe that house is from the 1920s. Was built by my great-grandparents, I believe, on my father's side. This is another cool church. This church is like... Boy, I don't even know where to describe where it is. Here? Did I find it? I found it immediately. I'm a GeoGuessr genius. With this church. This is the orphanage. There's another hotel here. It's weird when the hotels are inland. This is the lighthouse. California lighthouse. It's like right over here. Right here. This is a restaurant. This is a horrible, ugly, disgusting, giant golf course. That should be burned to the ground. This is Arashi Beach. That's over here. That's this beach. Also one of the lesser beaches. Was weirdly busy when we went. But there's snorkeling to be done here, so that's nice. And then we were up to the lighthouse. You can go up the lighthouse. I wanted to go up the lighthouse. It cost $5. So we decided not to go up the lighthouse. And that day, we were very tired also. And you get a view of like all the hotels and stuff. It's and then behind the lighthouse, there's these beautiful dunes and there's a lot of unspoiled nature. That's really nice. This is our last night. Yeah, this is our last night. This is Palm Beach. Palm Beach is this area here where the big hotels are. This is a restaurant or whatever called Mumba Beach. Right here by this pier. This is entirely coincidentally also where I had my last dinner before leaving in 2005 with the family. I have some pictures from that still. People were taking wedding pictures over there. Because the sun was setting and unfortunately it was a little too cloudy to get a full sunset on my last night, which... Climate change! But it was still a beautiful, fun day with the family. I had this. We had a big plate of nachos, and I had a Philly cheesesteak, as you know, the traditional Aruban Philly cheesesteak. It was okay. There's the sun setting as much as it can. There's the sky. There's the cacti in the yard. See, there's these little flowers are gonna turn into little fruits that my mom's gonna eat. And then that's us waiting for the plane. And that's it. That's it. And then oh no, close. And then we took a little plane ride from here to Bonaire because the plane stops in Bonaire. And Bonaire is hilarious because its airplane doesn't even have like its airport doesn't have the little tunnels that go to the door. The plane just stops here, and you're just supposed to get out through with steps, no matter how big the plane is. That's how small Bonaire is. And on Bonaire, even though it was, what, like 7, 8 o'clock, our plane was a little delayed. It takes like 20 minutes to fly there, right? On Bonaire, our airplane was suddenly without power. Because, like, when the plane is landed, right, the engine turns off. The plane no longer generates its own power as it gets refueled. And, there's supposed to be like a generator truck that plugs in. The plane was without power for like an hour. It was dark and it was very warm. And that wasn't pleasant. And then after that, we still had a 10-hour flight all the way across the globe again. Well, not that far. Back home. Which was just a bit troublesome. And then I had the worst jet lag I've ever had in my life. I was basically without sleep for 4 straight days. I maybe had like 3 hours of sleep in an hour. My body just didn't want to sleep. It sucked. I did not enjoy. But I'm home now. I have some good time with the family. It's gonna be a while before I'll get to see them again. It was, of course, as it always is, totally worth it. We had a great time, even with the weather not being in our favor, even with having to worry about Artorias a lot during everything. But like it's this thing, man. It's home, and it's not home. My family lives there, and I'm learning to be closer to them after therapy. I'm learning to connect more with them. But they're very far away. And I'm never going to live there because it's too small and it's too far away from everything else. Right? I'm not going to find... See that? See that? That wasn't there last time. That's an NES. That's a Nintendo Entertainment System that I just found in a store in town. I can't do that on Aruba. I can't order from Vinted on Aruba. I can't take a train to Amsterdam from Aruba. You know, it's just too small to live there. At least with my current lifestyle. Even though I'm not a big traveler or whatever. It's too small-minded also. Because you don't need to think about big things when you're there. That's also a part of it why it's so relaxing. But like, if I had to work there, that'd be a very different thing, right? And yet, part of me wants to be there. So that's why I take these things home with me. Right? A horror story. Hey. This is pretty good. Famous Belgian magician stabbed to death. In the Belgian Congo... Oh my god. I'm gonna have fun reading these. Oh yeah, and one of the stories is called the Leiden Sleep Project. Meant to be. It's written in English, so who knows, I might do a reading Outpost Alto Vista stream at some point. Yeah, my relationship with Aruba is complicated and annoying and frustrating and beautiful and all kinds of feelings, and I'm still gonna be processing that for a little bit. Processing a lot of stuff, because like last time I think I had a lot of post-vacation depression. This time the jet lag kind of prevented that, although I was still feeling it the last couple of days. But it's also that Artorias isn't doing great, and I'm back at work, and my work is just mindless and soul crushing and doesn't pay. I want to get back to making videos. I want to get back to the streaming. You know, I really wanted to do this sooner, this one, but I'm happy I was able to get it. I was happy you guys were able to hang out with me. If you have any more questions about the nation state of Aruba, you have like 5 more minutes before I finally give my vocal cords a little bit of rest, because I haven't talked like this in a month. Did I stream at all in the month of June? I don't even know. I hope you enjoyed my little slideshow. I enjoyed it. It's always very therapeutic. It's very therapeutic to do this. It's very, apparently hi Stan, I love you. Apparently it's actually therapeutic to go over your pictures and recount your stories of a vacation afterwards, if it was particularly meaningful or so nice, because it helps refresh the memories and keep them fresh and not make you feel the contrast between your boring, stressful, ordinary life and the escape of a vacation, you know. But yeah, I don't know what I will be back with next time. I still have some Davilex games that I wanna play around with, that I wanna install, but I had some trouble installing them. But I want footage. There might be one more Davilex stream. There will be another Aruba game stream. For all I know, that might be the next stream, because then I can kind of transition even more so into the things I want to do. I now remember too that I'm not like committed to streaming in the same way that I used to be. I only stream now when I feel like I have something to stream. But I do feel like, you know, I got patrons. I'm streaming on YouTube also at the same time. Hi, if you're on YouTube, you're one of the few, and I love you. It's gonna be at least a month and a half until the next video. There's still so much work to be done on the next video. And I've literally only been sleeping okay for like 2 or 3 nights. And then I've had to contend with the extreme heat, which thankfully it's cooling down, and I hope it stays cool. Straight 20 degrees for the next 3 months would be, you know, I'm perfectly happy with that. That's it. That's it. Stream's over. You can go now. Well, no, don't go. Wait, we're gonna raid. We're gonna raid into Noya. But thank you so much for enjoying my little slideshow, giving me clout and attention and all that stuff, making me feel welcome. I have missed you all. I have, half the reason why I wanted to do this stream is to see you all again in the comfort of my chat zone. So I appreciate that. That's it. I have to hit the button. I don't... How do I do that again? First I say today's the day. Then I say I love you. Then I say thanks for the subs and the resubs and all that stuff. And then I think what I do is...
Thank you for enjoying the Bob stream. I love you all.
Although I do have to be careful that, like, because I've done this before, that the stream ends before the raid starts, so I have...
Thank you for enjoying the Bob stream. I love you all.